Hi, all you beautiful people out there, and welcome to my channel. If you are new, thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoy it and I hope you subscribe. For my fans and subscribers, welcome back. Really appreciate the patronage. So, I was going to do this tomorrow, but I'm like, well, what the hell? Do it tonight. So, anyway, the topic is Young Earth Creationism's House of Cards. And, I used to be a young Earth creationist. Uh, so, how did I get out of young Earth creationism? Um, well, they kind of shoot themselves in the foot, but I'll get into that later, maybe. I don't know. So, um, So I was a young earth creationist when I started college, right? And so I decided to minor in anthropology, and part of anthropology is archaeology. It's one of the subfields of anthropology. And in the introduction class to archaeology, I learned about carbon dating and also not just carbon dating, but other kinds of dating. Um, but for the most part, in archaeology, they use carbon dating. They um, they will use other kinds of dating when carbon dating's out of the question. But for the most part, they use carbon dating. It's more paleontology and geology that will use um, other types of dating methods. Uh, but anyway, moving on. Um, and I learned that carbon dating can go up to 50,000 years. And when I read that, I was like, wait a minute. The Earth is at most 10,000 years old. So, how can anything date to above 10,000 years old? And so I was scratching my head, and instead of putting my head in the sand like other young Earth creationists, I was like, I gotta learn more about this. So I went to the library um, on campus and I got some books about carbon dating. And I learned about carbon dating and how it's done and all that good stuff. And I didn't even look at the young earth apologetics for, carbon dating, but because I was like, no, this really works. This is a method that works. Um, and the young earthers are just wrong. You know, they're just wrong. Um, and that was the first card that came out of young earth creationism for me. Now, people come out of young earth creationism for different reasons. Um, and the first card that comes out will generally be different for everybody, you know. Um, but when that first card comes out, the House of Cards, which is why I titled the stream how I titled it, Young Earth Creationism's House of Cards. Once that first card comes out, the entire House of Cards comes tumbling down. Okay? Because I didn't just stop with the carbon dating. You know, I knew that young earth creationism was bullshit after I learned about the carbon dating. And I was so mad that they lied to me, you know. Um, but I didn't give up on my Christian faith. Instead, I turned to old earth creationism, right? Because you learn young earth creationism's wrong. Well, that doesn't mean Christianity's wrong. Well, that's how I thought at least, right? So I turned to old earth creationism. And you know, but the more I learned about science, the more I was like, wait a minute. Uh, you know, old earth creationism doesn't make any sense either, you know? So, then I was like, well, what the hell am I? Hey, Afro-humanist. So then I'm like, well, what the hell am I? I can't be a young earther. I can't be an old earther. And when I started looking into evolution, that's what caused me to rethink my position on old earth creationism. Hey, deconverted. Yeah, doesn't it though? Like I said before you got in here, um, uh, you know, the only way you can be a biblical literalist is to deny science. Right. Exactly, deconverted. So anyway, so then I'm like, what the hell am I then? I can't be a young earther. I can't be an old earther. But I still want, to be a Christian. I still want to believe in God. Because at that time I was like, okay, well, God's still I thought at that time, God is still um, the best solution, right? This was before I knew anything about the Big Bang Theory. Yeah, well, they're definitely wrong about that, aren't they? So, anyway, this was long before I knew anything about the Big Bang Theory, right? So I'm like, well, okay, I guess that I would be a theistic evolutionist then, right? I mean, makes sense. Can't deny evolution happens, right? After I learned the truth about evolution and not um the straw man version of evolution. Hey, stupid horror energy. So anyway, um so then I was like, okay, so I'm a theistic evolutionist, right? I don't really put too much stock in labels, right? But I needed something to call myself. So you know, I have to, you know, Right, deconverted. My next John Pendleton debunk is going to bring up that fact. Yeah, me too, stupid whore energy. So anyway, so when you get that one card, like I said earlier, you get that one card of the young earth creationism coming out of the pile, coming out of the house of cards, and everything just falls apart after that. You go from mine was carbon dating. My first card to come out was carbon dating. And then I learned about, evolution. Um, and then um, after that, I learned about the Big Bang Theory. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. So God didn't create the universe? I mean, like, I had no problem with the universe being like 13.8 billion years old, right? Didn't have any problem with that. Um, but then I learned about the Big Bang Theory and I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. And it's the cognitive dissonance, right? So you either have to live with the cognitive dissonance, which I can't. I just cannot live with any cognitive dissonance. Everything has to make sense to me, you know. So, and I'm just that kind of person, right? Just that kind of person. And so so I thought, well, let's see here. Maybe maybe because the Big Bang doesn't say what came before the Big Bang, before the singularity, right? And it still doesn't, by the way. We don't know what came before the singularity. Exactly, deconverted. We don't know what came before the singularity. So I'm like, okay, well, it could be that, God set off the Big Bang, right? But then I was like, okay, but if God set off the Big Bang, then I can't be a Christian because Christianity says that God is intimately involved not only in the universe but in our lives, right? So I'm like, I can't be a Christian and hold to the Big Bang Theory. Bye, deconverted. Thank you. Um, so I was like, well, what does that make me now? And I'm like, well, I guess it makes me a deist, you know? I mean, I can believe that a God started the Big Bang, right? But if a God or goddess or whatever started the Big Bang and then he or she or it or whatever doesn't have anything to do with, the universe after that, then that is the definition of a deistic God, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm a deist. And so I'm like, okay, all right, well, that makes sense, you know. Um, but then I kept learning and learning, and I'm like, I still okay. Here's where I am at this point. I still concede that there could be a deistic God. I concede that. It's not the Christian God, okay? But I concede there could be a deistic God. However, after learning about the science of the Big Bang Theory and all that, a deistic God is not necessary, which is why I am now an atheist. Like I said, I concede there could be a deistic God, but I don't necessarily believe in a deistic God anymore because a God isn't even needed for the Big Bang Theory. Okay? I mean, yeah, it's true. We don't know what came before the singularity, and maybe we never will. But that doesn't mean that we can insert a God, you know? I mean, before people knew what thunder was, they thought a god did it. Um, in Norse mythology, Thor is the god of thunder. And yeah, I say is because there are still people who hold to Norse mythology. And, I don't really mind people holding to like Hellenistic mythology or, Norse mythology. Hey, Halcyonic. I don't really mind like people holding to that because those kinds of people are not trying to make the laws. And those kinds of people are not trying to tell other people how to live their lives. Hey, TV to me. Lisa, what do you say to people who tell you if Christianity didn't work for you, why not try Islam? Uh, because a God isn't needed. And I mean, if I tried Islam, right? I haven't really looked into Islam all that much, right? But, you know, um, and I'm willing to give Islam the benefit of the doubt. I mean, extremists are extremists, and you're going to have extremists in every religion. And I know Muslims who are not extremists. In fact, the Muslims I know are some of the sweetest people, you know. Um, so, I don't judge Islam too harshly. But, you know, if there doesn't need to be a God for the universe to exist, then why would I try Islam? Or even if there doesn't need to be a personal God, let's get off that there doesn't need to be a God for the universe to exist, right? But let's go with there doesn't need to be a personal God, right? So why would Islam be any um, more right or more wrong than Christianity on that subject? Because Islam still requires a personal God. So that would be my answer. This is true, Halcyonic. And in the early days um, of religion, um, deities were not personified. Let me get rid of this bot. Okay. So anyway, so that would be my answer. Yeah, I mean, I get that, Halcyonic. I do, but people who tell me, "Oh, you're just an atheist because you want to sin," you know, I would be like, if I want to sin, I would be a Christian because, you know, Christianity, at the end of the day, if you repent of your sins, right, then God wipes the slate clean. And, you're not then accountable to God for your quote unquote sins, which, sin is a stupid concept to begin with. Um, anyway, but if I wanted to sin, I would be a Christian. You know, atheism or even deism is a lot harder because you are accountable. I am accountable to myself. I am accountable to you. I am accountable to my society. And I am accountable to the world. I am accountable. In Christianity, there is no accountability. So, like I said, if I wanted to sin, I would just be a Christian. But I reject the concept of sin. Yeah, halcyonic or upset for unanswered prayers. That's ridiculous. You know, that's just plain old ridiculous. Um, so, you know, um, again, all it takes is one card of young earth creationism to be pulled, and that house of cards comes tumbling down. It just comes tumbling down. And young earthers shoot themselves in the foot because young earth creationism is probably the worst thing that ever happened for Christianity. Because when most young earthers find out that the young earth isn't true and they find out that they've been lied to, whatever path they take, most will become atheistic or at best a deist. And, you know, well, I'm upset with the tooth fairy because I never got my money. I mean, come on. If we're going to be upset with, you know, non existent entities, be upset with the tooth fairy. She didn't give you your goddamn money, goddamn it. So anyway, um, I just thought I'd come on and, do a little bit of, um, explain a little bit about, how I got to where I am today. Yeah, it is a lot of lying from a lot of people. It is. And the problem is, the problem is once they find out the science, okay, whether they want to deny the science to keep their faith or not. And some of them do deny the science to keep their faith, okay? Those that do have to then start lying to themselves, which is the worst thing you can possibly do. Why would anybody ever lie to themselves? It's the worst thing you can do. It's the worst thing you can do. Exactly. There is no such thing as sin. So, yeah, for any young earthers that are listening to this, lying to yourself is the worst thing you can do. It's the worst. Look at the science. We're not the crazy ones here, okay? We're not the ones lying to ourselves. We're not the ones saying we have all the answers. We're not the ones that need to feel like we have all the answers. Why why do you want to feel like you have all the answers? There's no wonder in the universe if you have all the answers. There's no awe. There's no this is interesting. Let's get to figuring this out. You know, if you have all the answers, there's nothing left to do. Why do you want to feel like you've got all the answers? That's I'm sorry, but I gotta call it like it is because I always do. That is idiotic. Thinking that you have all the answers is idiotic. Well, this is true, Halcyonic. This is true. Well, I mean, maybe having the answers lets a person have a lazy brain, but the fact of the matter is nobody has all the answers. So, I mean, having a lazy brain doesn't really do anything now, does it? You know? But again, where's the wonder? Where's the awe in the universe if you have all the answers? Why are you going to live another day if you have all the answers? Why would you want to live another day if you have all the answers? There's beauty. There's beauty in not having the answers. There is beauty in not having the answers because then there's something to live for. There's something to live for. Whether or not you can find the answer or not doesn't mean somebody else isn't going to be able to find the answer. You know? I mean, that's basically right. I agree. Um that's what's so amazing about the universe. We don't have the answers. We don't even have the answers about our pale blue dot, let alone all the answers about the universe. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to do something on Scientology, but I have to be really careful on that because Scientology is so happy. So, anyway, I just wanted to get on and, share my thoughts about Young Earth Creationism's House of Cards. Um, I don't have a thumbnail up yet, but I will. I will. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button, press the subscribe button if you're not subscribed, throw a comment in the comment section for the algorithm, and if you're not a member, you can join these awesome people that are on the list going across the screen. By becoming a member of my channel, you can have membership for as low as 99 cents a month. And I will see you guys later. And you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Um, Halcyonic, my email address is in the description. You can leave the link there if you want. Yeah, but my email's always going to be in the description. And my Teespring store. By the way, if you have um uh ideas for merch, Um, you can always email me if that's what you want to do. So, yeah. So, I'm gonna go. Thank you for stopping by. Have a great rest of your night, and, I'll see you probably Saturday for Saturday live stream, and, thanks for coming. Bye.